What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? My name is John Dawson, and in today's video, we are hopping into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. Today, we will be drafting through the ESPN platform. This is a 10-man full PPR style mock draft. I have the 10th overall selection in today's video. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to smash that like button down below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. We put out free daily fantasy football content. At the moment, we are running a completely free subscriber mock draft nearly every single night. Be sure to join our Discord down below as well to get updates on when we will be drafting, and feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below. And without further ado, let's hop right into another draft. All right, in today's draft, I'm going to continue to run the same strategy of bouncing between a running back and a receiver throughout the draft, following the tight end position in certain tiers as well as the quarterback position in certain tiers, and just comfortably selecting a tight end and quarterback when they fall to us at the right time. I really feel like in 10-man drafts and 12-man drafts, this strategy is just absolutely killing it. So I'm going to continue to conduct these and just see some different rosters that we build throughout the offseason here. So we've got the first 5 selections off the board: JT, Cooper Kupp, Austin Eckler, CMC, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase all gone. So we got a pretty even right now: 3 running backs, 3 receivers, make that a 4th running back in Derrick Henry. We've got 2 more selections before we do pick. I would like to land a running back and a receiver here. Najee Harris off the board with the 8th overall selection. I'm telling you, I would love Devontae Adams here, but if he does go, I've got no problem whatsoever selecting Stephon Diggs as my wide receiver 1. Then there's a good amount of running backs to choose from. I love the potential of going out and snagging a Dalvin Cook here. I love DeAndre Swift. I think Alvin Kamara, even with a looming suspension, is worth consideration as well. Love Leonard Fournette and James Conner, but the guy that really stands out to me, who has stood out to me all offseason long, continues to be Joe Mixon. I do like Dalvin Cook quite strongly here. I will guarantee you that with this 9th overall selection, they are having a tough time between Adams, Cook, Diggs, even Debo, Tyreek Hill, Swift, Kamara, Mixon. I mean, it's just a lot of talent sitting right here, and he goes Devontae Adams with the 9th overall selection. Man, I really do like Dalvin Cook here. It's really, really tough. I'm going to go in and take Diggs as my wide receiver 1. Part of me is even tempted to stray away from our strategy and go for a second receiver with the upside in Debo and Tyreek Hill sitting there. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to trust our gut. We're going to go with a running back and get Joe Mixon as our RB1. Really hard to not go Cook there. I really mean it. But nonetheless, we'll start with Mixon as an RB1 and Stephon Diggs as our wide receiver 1. Dalvin Cook goes with the 12th overall selection, the 2nd pick of the 2nd round. We'll just kind of have to sit back a while until we pick. We've got the 30th overall selection, and at that point, we'll be targeting another wide receiver and running back. There's some nice value towards the 30th overall selection. I doubt that Mike Evans or Jalen Waddle fall out, but if they do, absolutely love to snag either of those guys as a wide receiver too. But I like some of the upside involved in an AJ Brown, although we've really been targeting Devonta Smith throughout the off season. So I kind of actually like some of these later tier guys: Michael Pittman, Scary Terry, Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf, Brandon Cooks, or even that really big upside in Mike Williams. So we'll see what happens. Looking at running backs, getting closer to the 30th pick, there's a lot of good value. Saquon Barkley, I would not have a problem with going if he does fall to the 30th overall selection. Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, some nice options towards that tier as well. And don't forget, we're going to keep an eye on the tight end position with Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, and potentially Kyle Pitts as well. But for now, we'll just kind of sit back and see what happens. For whatever reason, in these ESPN mock drafts, the tight end position really tends to kind of linger for a little bit longer. I'm not really sure why through their platform guys like Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce are falling into the 3rd round, really in just about every other mock draft or underdog draft that we've done at the channel in the offseason. We're seeing those guys go in the 1st, at the very latest mid-2nd round. So we'll see what happens. And those are 2 guys that I'm not going to pass up with the 30th overall selection if they do fall that late, but it's very, very possible they go. And there goes Travis Kelce with the 19th overall selection. So to finish out the 2nd round, we got Kamara at 14, CeeDee Lamb at 15, Tyreek Hill at 16, DeAndre Swift at 17, Fournette at 18, Travis Kelce at 19, James Conner with the 20th overall selection. So a lot of talent off the board there. And we will move right into the 3rd round. Kind of at that point, when you have these back-to-back picks, whether it's 1.1, 1.10, 1.12, whatever it may be, you're going to have a lot of points in the draft where you just have to kind of sit back and let that talent be wiped away. There's not too much purpose in going out and targeting too many players without having the possibility of just seeing them all be wiped off the board. And into the third round, we've got Mike Evans gone and Mark Andrews. So both of those players we talked about, if they fell to 30, there's no way we're passing them up, but obviously a ton of talent there, both off of the board. So as we get closer, we can start to take an eye on things. T. Higgins selected there. There's any way Aaron Jones falls out here. I mean, I would take Aaron Jones at pick 30 all day long, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So in terms of that second RB, we're going to target, even in full PPR, there's no way I'm passing up Nick Chubb with the 30th or 31st overall selection. I like Saquon Barkley in that range, just with that really nice upside, as well as Javonte Williams and Aaron Jones are off the board. This is another note for the ESPN platform. For whatever reason, they've got Nick Chubb rated very, very low overall, ranked 34 overall in their projections, and I really don't think he's going to be lasting that long in most mock drafts. And the mock drafts we've been conducting with our subscriber base, he is not lasting that long whatsoever. But for the purpose of this mock draft, I'll take him all day long. All right, Keenan Allen's gone at 26, Aaron Jones at 25, Saquon Barkley's gone at 27. We've got two more selections. So I would say Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb are our main targets at running back. And there goes AJ Brown off the board, followed by Cam Akers. I like David Montgomery here as well. I think it'd be a great selection, but I do think that Chubb is the best running back available. And we said this earlier, if Jalen Waddle falls out to this point in the draft, then we're taking him all day long. Super happy with both those selections as we enter the fourth round. Monty, the first running back off the board at pick 32 in the fourth round. So Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb, you got two running backs from the same division. I think that's a very strong start to the position. Then Stephon Diggs and Jalen Waddle, full PPR, man, those guys are going to have monster years, both of their quarterbacks respective best friends at the position. So I absolutely love the start to this roster. So as we approach pick 50 overall, as Michael Pittman is off the board, we do want to start to keep an eye on the tight end position. If Kyle Pitts falls out to pick 50, there's no way I'm passing them up. We'll keep an eye on Pitts, Waller, and Kittle as kind of that second elite tier overall. And we'll just keep an eye at quarterback. No QBs have gone yet. I will say, if Josh Allen, as much as I'm not a giant fan, especially in a 10-man draft, of selecting a quarterback early, if Josh Allen lasts to pick 50, there's no way I'm going to pass him up. So we'll keep an eye on kind of this. I would say that my top five, I mean, this is ESPN's top five, and very close to my personal top five. I've got Kyler Murray ahead of Lamar Jackson, but we'll keep an eye on this top tier of QBs and then see if they fall to us at the right price. And if they all get selected, then we'll move on to the next tier. Same thing we're doing with the tight end position. You're kind of just waiting for, the right player at the tight end and quarterback position to fall to you. And I'm telling you guys, with this strategy, it just tends to happen time after time. So we do have our first quarterback off the board, and that is Justin Herbert tonight. I'm fine with that selection. I've still got Josh Allen ahead of him, but I don't mind if you had the conviction in Herbert and you want to go out and snag him. I'm fine with that. I truly am. So a couple other players gone here. We got Mike Williams, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs, and J.K. Dobbins. A little bit of a run on running back, but three receivers and a quarterback gone in this round as well. So we've got 12 more selections until we pick. We'll go ahead and take a quick peek at the receiver position. If DK Metcalf falls out to 50, I'll absolutely take him as a wide receiver 3 all day long as Chris Godwin is selected. I'm not sure that Metcalf's going to make it out that far. I like Hollywood Brown and Darnell Mooney in that same tier. Looking at running backs available, it's getting a little bit thin, but in the 5th round, as much of a scare as there is in the Washington backfield, I'll take Antonio Gibson as an RB3 all day long. At full PPR, I definitely don't mind going out and grabbing a guy like Travis Etienne. I'll take a chance on Breece Hall here, or Eli Mitchell. And a guy that I really like regardless of scoring format is A.J. Dillon. I don't have a problem reaching for him, but I don't think that we're going to necessarily have to do so in the 5th or 6th round. I also like Tony Pollard in these full PPR formats as well. But we'll go ahead and just take a little bit of a breather as Chris Godwin's gone and Scary Terry. Kyle Pitts does get selected here in the 5th round. We've also seen 2 more quarterbacks gone in Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes, and DJ Moore is off the board as well. So looking at who's available, there's a slight chance that Metcalf falls here, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I would say that Mooney or Hollywood Brown are our top targets at the wide receiver position. I also don't mind taking a chance on one of those Broncos receivers or Hunter Renfrow, quite truthfully. So we'll kind of take a step back once again, keep saying that, and it's just hard not to, but you absolutely have to give yourself those breaks during drafts. But the nice thing about having back-to-back selections is you can plan out 2 selections at a time. So maybe you have a little bit more of a purpose to go ahead and start doing so earlier on. All right, so Breece Hall gone, Jerry Jeudy gone, Antonio Gibson gone, and Deontay Johnson gone. So we did land DK Metcalf, which in full PPR, regardless of who the quarterback is, I have got no problem whatsoever with, man, there are a lot of good receivers sitting here, but our strategy is telling us go running back. Let's take a look at tight end. George Kittle's pretty hard to pass on here, but I think there's going to be some nice options down the stretch. So let's stick to the strategy. Let's go running back, man. I'm telling you, it's hard. There are a lot of good receivers available. I'm going to go with ETN here. I really like Elijah Mitchell at this point in the draft as well. I don't mind taking a chance on Patty and Cheese, our guy Cordero Patterson, but I'm going to go with my guy ETN because I do think that he holds some nice PPR upside, and I'm willing to take that risk as a RB3 behind really consistent players like Joe Mixon and Nick Chubb. All right, we got Brandon Cooks off the board at 52 and Amari Cooper off the board at 53, followed by Miles Sanders. So I don't think we're going to be able to land George Kittle, but we'll see. Moving into that next tier of tight end, we'll go ahead and we'll queue up Dalton Schultz, Dallas Goedert. I've got Dawson Knox really high on my personal list, so I don't mind him whatsoever going in and being queued up. George Kittle does go here with pick 5 in the 6th round, followed by Cordero Patterson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'll go ahead and queue up Mike Gesicki, Hawkinson, Ertz, Freiermuth, and Hunter Henry, as well as Noah Fant. I mean, we'll really just start to keep an eye at the position for the remainder of this draft. Looking at QB, we still got Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray hanging around. So I will say to go ahead and lock up some elite upside, I'm probably going to take a quarterback with pick 70 or 71 and go with an additional receiver. I would love to see Hunter Renfrow fall out here, but I don't think it's going to happen. In that circumstance, we'll go with Devonta Smith. Looking at the quarterback position, ooh, it's going to be tough. We might be able to land Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray, which I'd be ecstatic about. But if not, I love Jalen Hurts here. I've got him pretty high in my personal rankings. And I love Joe Burrow. I got Burrow and Hurts right outside the top 5. So I'm happy with either of those selections. Looking at the receiver position, I mean, there's a lot of good players. Gabriel Davis, Drake London, Elijah Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, there's a lot of players I would like to take a chance on. I mean, even Tyler Lockett. I don't know how crazy I am about having Metcalf and Lockett on the same fantasy squad. Probably wouldn't do that, but overall there are a lot of good receivers hanging around. I mean, I don't even mind going Cortland Sutton at this point in the draft. But once again, let's take a step back. Let's kind of see how things play out. To end that 6th round, we saw Darnell Mooney, Hollywood Brown, and Eli Mitchell off the board. In the 7th round, we've got Dalton Schultz, Devin Singletary, and Damon Harris all gone. There goes Lamar Jackson. I do wonder when Kyler Murray is going to be selected, and I do think that we're probably going to be targeting either Jalen Hurts or a Joe Burrow. I don't really mind either. I think that Hurts gives you that nice rushing upside, then Burrow gives you that upside just from being able to pass the football all over the freaking place. So we could potentially lock up a nice little stack of Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts, which I would not mind at all. If we do go Burrow, we potentially get some dump-off touchdowns or screen plays to Joe Mixon, which would be nice as well. But overall, I think this is a really nice start to this roster. We got Mixon, Chubb, and ETN at running back, Diggs, Waddle, and Metcalf at the receiver position. Probably the only problem with the roster so far is we do have 3 players on bye week in week 11. So we're going to have to try and avoid week 11 buys. But at the end of the day, man, if there are players who are better overall, give you better upside, make your roster better, I don't really care about bye weeks. You can fix that throughout the season by using the waiver wire. Just make sure you're not hurting your roster, paying too much attention to that bye week overall. All right, man, Kyler Murray and Hunter Renfrow are available. I did not see this happening at all. So we're going to go Hunter Renfrow at receiver. Oh, man. And we're going to go Kyler Murray at QB. I just think he gives you the most upside overall. And then we can still potentially maybe land a Derek Carr down the stretch and get a little bit of a Renfrow and Carr stack, and to also just offer our roster a little bit more stability, since we do have some, injury issues, injury concerns that seem to pop up every season with Kyler. Feels like his play starts to slump towards the end of the season. I don't know. I just like having a QB2 behind Kyler Murray. So I would love to see Devonta Smith fall out to pick 90, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think our next 2 targets become DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Dillon, but I also like Tony Pollard hanging around. I like Melvin Gordon as well. There's some nice players, Rashad Penny, Michael Carter. I mean, even Chase Edmonds, I would take a risk on at this point. There's some good players hanging around, even McKissick and Hines in those later rounds, as well as James Cook. So there's still some running back value that I like in these later rounds. But most importantly, we do need to start to think about the tight end position as well. Even though Dawson Knox is relatively touchdown dependent, I don't really mind, regardless of scoring format, going out and snagging him. I know he's not everyone's favorite tight end in full PPR, but I don't mind him as my tight end one, really, regardless of scoring format. So I don't have a problem if we have to hold off and we still land Dawson Knox. But I do think that Goddard and or Gesicki hold a lot of value in full PPR formats as well. So we'll just kind of hang out. We'll see what happens. We've got Gabe Davis off the board, Drake London, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen gone. I might consider just going running back receiver at 90 and 91 and just getting some really good value, and then reverting back to the tight end in the 11th round. And even if we have to go double tight end in the 11th and 12th just to secure some stability, I don't necessarily mind that, as we are seeing a little bit of a run at the running back position with Kareem Hunt and Tony Pollard gone. There goes Chase Edmonds. There goes Elijah Moore at the receiver position. I really want to land A.J. Dillon, and he's gone, man. I really think Dillon would have made this team just absolutely beautiful. Would love to see A.J. Dillon as an RB4 on my squad. Nonetheless, we're in kind of a unique position now where we can take some upside throughout this roster. We could go with a second quarterback here and Joe Burrow and just absolutely get a beautiful quarterback room. Let's take a look at the tight end position. I mean, Goddard's hanging around. Looking at receiver, Hopkins is hanging around still. I think that Hopkins is definitely a lock for one of the players that I'm going to take here. Let's go ahead. Oh man, it's just tough with Burrow sitting here. I'm going to go Burrow. I'm going to get a second quarterback, which is not something that I always do. But like I said, behind Kyler Murray, I really like the idea of having this a stable quarterback, and think about it down the stretch. If you need to, you can use that as trade value as well throughout the season. I'm going to go Hopkins here, and then we've got 3 more selections. So what I'd like to do is, obviously we need to select a tight end. I was really close, but I think we can last till pick 110 and still secure 1 to 2 tight ends that I'm happy with, as we have seen 2 tight ends selected since our last 2 selections, and Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. Matthew Stafford's gone, Garrett Wilson, Chase Claypool, and Mike Gesicki. So we took a little bit of a risk here, okay? But when we look at the tight end position overall, Freiermuth, Henry, Knox are the guys that I really like to land here. Worst case scenario, we go Noah Fant and or Robert Tonyan. It's not beautiful on paper, but I think that both of those guys could absolutely work out. Outside of that, I still want to keep an eye on the running back position. I know we have 3 running backs that I personally believe in, but I definitely want to start to add some depth at the position. When we look at the receiver room, I mean, we could essentially be done for the night. I mean, we got Diggs, Waddle, Metcalf, Renfro, and Hopkins. I think that is a wonderful receiver room for me personally. 5 solid receivers like that, especially in the 10-man league, I am good with. I think you could absolutely get through the season with those guys alone. And if you need to, you can play the waiver wire and or make some trades as things go on. So we've got Russell Gage to finish out the 10th round, a really nice selection there. I think what we'll do here is we'll go for a running back and a tight end at pick 110 and 111. I like Michael Carter. I like Melvin Gordon. I like that upside in James Cook. I think he could have a really nice PPR style role within that roster as well. So we'll kind of hold off here and we'll see what happens. Definitely don't need another quarterback. And like I said, I think we're good at receiver. The emphasis turns to the tight end and the running back position to finish out this draft. Make sure you guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the draft so far. And of course, if you are enjoying today's content, be sure to smash that like button down below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe as well. We'd love to have you here at the Catch family. All right, so let's see. Moving into the 11th round, man, it's getting really risky at tight end. I'm a little bit worried right now. I'm not going to lie. But if I can land Dawson Knox here at 110, I'm going to be ecstatic. And all that risk in my eyes is worth it. So we got Lazard gone, Ayuk gone, and James Robinson gone. Let's freaking go. Let's take Dawson Knox here. Then I would say let's just take the best running back available in our eyes. It's really close for me between James Cook and Melvin Gordon. I mean, it is really, really close. I really like both of these guys here. I'm going to go ahead and go with Melvin Gordon because I think he's got a great solidified handcuff value, right? If anything happens to Javonte Williams, he becomes a certified running back one in an offense that I personally think is going to be very good in the 2022 fantasy football season. But regardless of that, I also like the committee position he's in, right? Even if Javonte ends up seeing 60% of those snaps overall for the Broncos, I still think that Gordon's going to have a productive year and some of those weeks where he pops and is a nice flex option overall. So if James Cook somehow lasts to pick 130, we'll take him all day long. But really, to finish out this draft, there's a couple things we could do. We could go for another tight end like a Hunter Henry or a Noah Fant. Like I said, if James Cook somehow makes it out, we'll go and snag him too, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's go ahead and queue up a couple other running backs. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, Dameon Pierce, Tyler Algier, and Darrell Henderson, as well as Alexander Madison, are all the guys I'd like to keep in mind. I really like the value of Algier or Dameon Pierce at the running back position. Both rookies, but I both think that they are going to have an opportunity to play as an RB1. And there goes James Cook off the clock, so he's gone. Outside of that, keep an eye on Hunter Henry and Noah Fant, even Robert Tonyan, why not? And then let's just take a look at receiver. There's going to be a lot of players that I like here. I mean, I really like Tyler Boyd's value and Tim Patrick's value. I mean, those are two guys that I would definitely consider, and I'd probably throw Christian Watson in the mix as well. But like I said, we probably just are not going to need to go out and select another receiver, even if this is full PPR. So taking a look at the roster very quickly, we've got Kyler Murray at the quarterback position with Joe Burrow. Just a really nice quarterback room overall. Looking at running back, we got Mixon, Chubb, Etienne, and Gordon. A little bit thinner at running back. We're going to try and land one or two more running backs of high value, or at least high value where we are drafting them in terms of their ADP. Outside of that, though, our receiving room is absolutely stacked, which is extremely important in PPR format. So we got Diggs, Waddle, Metcalf, Hunter Renfrow, and DeAndre Hopkins hanging around. Then we've got Dawson Knox at the tight end position. So I'm pretty happy with this team overall, but I do think I'm probably going to go double running back here as Hunter Henry is off the board. There goes Tyler Boyd. There goes Noah Fant. So a lot of that talent we were just talking about just got ate up. I like Robert Tonyan, but I think for this roster, it makes more sense to go running back. JD McKissic hanging around as well is pretty tempting. I'm not going to lie. I like Tonyan here too, but I think in a 10-man format, if we needed help at the tight end position down the stretch or in the beginning of the season, whatever it may be with Dawson Knox, right? I think we could play the waiver wire and get through things, and I really do like Knox as a tight end one. So I'm going to take JD McKissic here just because he holds that nice PPR value. Even with the crowded offense, I'll take a chance on him as my RB5. Then I really like Dameon Pierce, and I really like Tyler Algier here as well. I'm actually going to go Algier as much of a route and a clear route that I think Dameon Pierce has to potentially be an RB1. I think Algier is just in a really good spot as well. And I like both those guys. You could certainly make an argument for Pierce or Algier there, and I really don't have a problem with either selection, but I'm going to go Algier for the purpose of tonight's mock draft. All right, man, and just another beautiful roster, in my humble opinion, put together here. Make sure you guys let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of this roster as a whole. I'm just going to select the best kicker and defense available to finish out this draft. So we already kind of went over things, but we got Kyler Murray and Burrow at the quarterback position. I think that's just absolutely beautiful, man. Mixon, Chubb, Etienne, Gordon, McKissic, and Algier at running back. I mean, I think that's a really nice running back room overall. I think receivers are absolutely stacked. Diggs, Waddle, Metcalf, Renfrow, and Hopkins. I mean, when Hopkins comes back from that suspension, this wide receiver room is just going to be absolutely crazy, man. It's going to be a little bit difficult to decide who to play on a weekly basis, but that's okay. The Dawson Knox at tight end, right? I'm fine with that. You could argue that maybe over Algier or McKissic, we should have gone with another tight end. Like I said, maybe a Robert Tonyan or maybe a Irv Smith, whoever it may be hanging around in those later rounds. But I'll go ahead and I'll take the chance with Dawson Knox, someone who I have a lot of personal conviction in, and roll with an additional running back, as I do like a little bit more depth at the position, especially with how many injuries we've seen over the last 2 seasons. So we'll just go ahead and we'll pick the best defense and kicker to finish things out. I mean anyone from Matt Gay to Nick Folk, Tyler Bass, Daniel Carlson. Looking at defenses available, I mean, I like the Colts defense, Patriots defense, Chargers, Rams, and that'll finish things out for the night. So we'll just have a couple more seconds until we make these selections. So if you guys did enjoy today's video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel. It really does help us out when you guys do subscribe. We'd love to have you here at The Catch. We put out free daily fantasy football content, and at the moment we are running a free subscriber mock draft nearly every single night. We would love to have you guys join. Be sure to join our Discord down below to get updates on when we are drafting. Feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below, and please guys, let me know what you thought of today's draft overall. And on top of that, if you guys had any draft requests, whether it's an 8-man, 10-man, 12-man, 14, 20-man, full PPR, half PPR, standard, whatever it may be, please let me know down below. I will get that on the schedule and filmed and recorded for you as well. All right, and here is one last look at the team. Diggs, Mixon, Chubb, Waddle, Metcalf, Etienne, Renfro, Murray, Burrow, Hopkins, Knox, Gordon, McKissick, Algier, Nick Folk, and the Patriots defense to finish things out. I think an absolutely beautiful squad. Overall, once again, just switching between drafting a receiver and running back, receiver and running back, receiver and running back, letting those quarterbacks fall to us and a tight end fall to us, and switching back to whatever really at the end of the draft, just whatever you feel is the biggest need on the roster. For us tonight, it was a couple more running backs over the receiver position. I think it is a really good strategy that's really been working for me here in the offseason. I'm going to continue to talk about this strategy all the way throughout the offseason unless it just turns out that it doesn't seem to be working anymore. That'll do it for today's video. And with that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch.